right, everyone, welcome. Cris, thank you for being here and sharing your time with us today. We were just chatting before I hit record over all of the world is so big and yet so small, how we both know this teeny little town together in the middle of Colorado. It's absolutely crazy. But Cris, I would love for you to kick things off by just introducing yourself, tell everyone what you do, et cetera. And then we're going to jump into some questions about your experience here with the top program.
Sure. Hi, Megan. Thanks for having me. My name is Cris Alsum, and I'm the owner of Simply Alsum Organizing. I'm a professional organizer. I specialize in coaching people through the decluttering and downsizing process. And I'm married. I have two young adult daughters and three elderly parents. So we are sandwiched right now. But
You're giving in both ways a little bit. Yeah.
you bet, you bet. And
I was really intrigued when I see somebody that is, especially in your line of work, you're a professional organizer. And so when I see, someone joining my program, not going to lie, I always get a little nervous. I'm like, ooh, you know, this is someone that does organization for a living. But I have always believed organizing, especially with physical, is not necessarily the same thing as planning. You can be highly organized, but not know how to plan, or be an excellent planner, but also maybe lack organization. So I'm curious to know what inspired you to join the top program.
You bet. Well, I've had a planner since I was in fourth grade. I love, love, love paper planners. I've used every kind. I've designed my own. I've done it all. But what got me was I saw one of your ads and I haven't even seen it again. So it was like a
Oh,
perfect
interesting.
time. It was you forwarding tasks day after day, forwarding tasks.
Yeah.
And that was me. So I love details, I love writing it down, but the whole thing about forwarding tasks over and over was just eating me up. I always felt like I was a failure. So,
Interesting. Did
um
you use the Franklin Covey planner?
oh, for sure.
Same. Yeah, because that's why I was, when we're talking about forwarding tasks, it was that it was a daily Franklin Covey. I went through all their programs, and then the next morning, anything that didn't get done from the day before, you turned the page and you rewrote it. And God knows how many hours of my life,
Yep. Yeah,
days
and
I've spent rewriting this.
I thought for sure I needed a daily plan, and
Yeah.
switching to weekly only has been amazing. So helpful.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
So we kind of covered how you were planning prior, kind of doing more of that daily list making mode. What has changed for you? Because you joined the program about 5-ish months ago, I think. So you're
Yep.
still fairly new, but you worked through it quick. What has shifted for you now?
Yeah. What I love is, your structure is freedom. That is so true, is planning plugging tasks into a time slot. That was like the missing piece for me.
Mm.
A list, but plugging tasks into a time and also blocking downtime and unscheduled me time because I always felt guilty. And now it's like a budget where you have permission to spend. It's like a budget of time where you have permission to rest or not be
Oh,
productive.
I've never thought of that similarity, because like my husband and I, we call it our slush funds. Like every month, because we each have our own, we have a joint account, but we have separate accounts. And so we put a deposit into each one of our slush funds, which is our no questions asked. You do you. And so then I can go guilt-free,
Yep.
save it for something, spend it, whatever. And I
Mhm.
love that analogy of having that time in your life where you get to do nothing and do it
Yep.
guilt-free.
I can
So
take a
good.
lunch break. I can sit and read a book for a half an hour during the day. Like, as a business owner, you could work 24/7 and never be done, but
Yeah.
to plan time for me it's been huge.
Oh, now you do run your own business. Have you had the opportunity to go through some of the small business bonus trainings that are in the program there? Has that been helpful for you in your business?
Yes, yes. I
That's
really
awesome.
appreciate your taking the time to pour into small business owners because, I'm solopreneur, it's just me. So, and I love your approach. I love your short videos. It just feels so like manageable. So if I have a time and I want to blow through a few, or if I just want to do one and get some inspiration, the way you've laid out your training has been fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. Now, let's be honest, learning something new, all of that, it's not always easy. And I always want to be very upfront with people that are, considering joining the top program. Your life is not going to transform in 7 days, right? Learning something new takes time. What have been some of the harder shifts that you've gone through?
I am still struggling to get to my backlog
Mm.
after, I love the one notebook and getting everything because I was like, I had 15 different notebooks for everything had its own notebook because that's what organized people do. But putting it all together and then having life happen and not actually getting to I'm still fighting fires. So that part is still hard. But,
And
in
I think that's true for probably everyone in certain seasons of life. And what Chris is talking about with the backlog is we have this concept when we're planning our time of what are the recurring things that we're doing on the regular every week versus what are kind of those projects, not the rinse and repeat, but the things that we desire to do. Like one that sat on our list for a long time was redoing this room upstairs. It's, our daughter's kind of aged out of playroom land. And so we're running to repurpose it for something else. So that's what we're kind of talking about with backlogs. And I think that what you are sharing is saying, yeah, I'm still struggling to find time to get to that. Knowing you've been in the program for 5 months is not uncommon because it for a lot of women that go through it, it takes time to kind of get out of that drowning lifeline, which you weren't quite there, up to, all right, now I've got just my normal stuff under control. And then that next layer is, all right, now how do I create the space and prioritize the time? Because I've built efficiencies around everything else to say, yeah, now it's time to go tackle some of those big projects as well. So even the fact that that's kind of here's what's next is exciting for me because I'll be interested to see which things you go to pick off there.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one or two of the biggest takeaways that have added the most value for you, what would you say those were?
I honestly, the one notebook has been really
Oh,
huge.
it's so funny because I never knew when I shared that how many people would say that that has been life changing for them.
And because I don't use your planner. I have it, but I
Totally
like the
fine.
one book. So I use the Wonderland 222 planner and I loved it because it had monthly, weekly, and daily pages. But now that I'm not using daily pages, that is my one notebook and it is in my planner.
Perfect.
I'm so happy.
And I was gonna be my next question was which tools are you using? Because again,
Yeah.
you do not have to use the top planner. You will have to use a weekly planner because nothing I teach talks about daily planning. But again, you can be paper, you can be digital, you can do a hybrid of both, which is kind of what I have to do. Do you do any planning digitally or are you through your
Well,
paper planner?
I have some clients that
Mm.
use different digital tools, and obviously my booking is online, so that kind of thing, but I write everything down. And that goes back to I was an executive assistant a long time, and I had to schedule 4 executives, and so my calendar was their calendar, so I've always had my own written thing, and that's just a system that works
Kind
for
of
me.
using so you kinda do that hybrid, "All right, I have to reference this," but then during the week, it's just going off on your planner. Oh,
Absolutely.
great. Now, I'd love for you to take just a quick minute and share a little about your business and if people are needing some help with downsizing, decluttering, where they can find information. And do you have to be in person to do this?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So my business is Simply Alsum, and that's my handle
So
on
jealous of your
I
last
know
name.
it. SIMPLYALSUM, and that's on Facebook and Instagram. That's also my website, my .com. I do virtual coaching. So I have kind of 3 things. So I do one-on-one, which I can do in person or virtual, where I help people get a plan in place. And then if they can do it on their own, that's great. Otherwise, a lot of it is just accountability. So
Mhm.
I have one-on-one coaching, group coaching, which I'm going to launch. Thank you to you because you helped kind of model what that kind of a group call can look
Oh,
like. So I
wonderful.
really appreciate that. And then I also have a book called Lighten the Load, which is a step-by-step plan that people can use on their own, which I just is releasing September 12th next month. So I'm very excited about that.
Exciting.
That'll be on Amazon or on my website. So
Oh, wonderful. So if you are needing some help and support in a either large decluttering effort or downsizing, which I know, a lot of us are supporting our parents as they're going through that. Definitely, I've got all the links below here for you to check this out. Chris, again, thank you for taking the time. And most importantly, thank you for doing the work and digging into the program and coming on and sharing your experiences with it.
thank you, Megan.